They leave tomorrow afternoon, and they're sure to take back several memories and friends to last them a lifetime.
Chris, you better believe it, and I know the people of Shreveport will appreciate everything they've done.
That's right.
All right, thanks for that live report tonight. Members of Rock Solid say next year they hope to open even more pools. The latest now on major money matters involving the city of Shreveport. Nearly $700,000 have been moved from the city's general fund account to a fund that was shut down nearly 2 years ago. Well, tonight, city leaders want to know where that money went.
When you have the person in control of finances not be able to tell you where money went, that throws up a red flag.
Personally, I feel some heads needs to roll. Number one, you have Rick Seaton, the assistant CAO, dealing with right at $500 million budget, and came off the street to do that. Number two, you got an interim finance director, and then you have Mr. Pistorius, the comptroller.
More fallout stemming from the transfer of nearly $700,000 in city funds. Finance Director Charles Madden informed the council on Monday that the city's comptroller moved the money from the general fund to the Fleet Services Fund because it showed a negative balance. Now, that fund was closed in 2008.
Our hands are all above board.
Mayor Glover says the transfer of those funds was completely legal.
There is no question that this transfer, this journal entry, was proper from an accounting standpoint. The remaining question is in regard simply to policy.
And policy is certainly one issue the council wants to address, but they say the bigger question remains. Where is the money?
Where is the money today? When you can't answer that question, that tells me that it's somewhere, but you can't tell us, and that's a problem.
And by the way, the council is asking the legislative auditor to look into that issue. In Bossier City, despite a hiring freeze, council members voted to allow the mayor to bring on a new executive secretary for his office. The mayor told council members this is a critical position that has to be filled. Mayor Walker's secretary retires next month. Council members turned him down 2 months ago, saying he needed to look inside city government first. No one wanted the job, so today the council voted to let Mayor Walker look elsewhere.
We've gone through the process of looking at all the in-house people, as you know, and we did that for 8 days and did not get any interested person.
The position will pay between $35,000 and $45,000 depending on experience. Mayor Walker says that's a decrease compared to his current secretary. A Shreveport teenager is behind bars after police say he snatched several bags out of a shopping cart. His crime and capture created quite a scene on both sides of the red. Police say the 13-year-old stole the bags when the victim set them down outside the Walmart on East Burt Coons. A detective recognized the getaway vehicle and followed it to Bossier. The Bossier police pulled it over at Diamond Jack's Casino. The teenager was arrested for theft.
There's another juvenile in the vehicle that's going to be booked for resisting by Bossier City Police for providing false information about himself.
3 women in the vehicle were questioned, then released. A Bossier City man is behind bars for a bank robbery, and police say this may not be the first time. Ronald Lee Brosette is charged with first-degree bank robbery. Now, police say he robbed the Citizens National Bank on Benton Road this morning, then took off on foot, but was later arrested. Authorities say he may have robbed the same bank last month. 1 person is dead and 3 others in the hospital after an accident on Highway 157 in Bossier Parish involving a school bus this morning. Police say a bus was struck by a car that failed to yield. The bus overturned and was then hit again by an SUV. The driver of the Buick, 30-year-old Natasha Kirkland, was pronounced dead at the scene. Inside the SUV was a woman and a 12-year-old boy. They were both airlifted to LSU. The bus driver was taken to Willis-Knighton. The driver had just dropped students off at Houghton Middle School and was then headed home. Well, police think alcohol could be a factor in a fatal crash in Natchitoches Parish. 27-year-old James Jones is charged with vehicular homicide, 4 counts of negligent injury, DWI, and not wearing a seatbelt. Police say this is his 4th arrest for driving under the influence. The deadly wreck happened just after 11 last night on Highway 1. Louisiana State Police say a pickup truck crossed the center line and hit an SUV head-on. A passenger in that vehicle 59-year-old Kona Richards was killed. The 3 children in the SUV were treated for minor injuries. Well, an historic day in America. President Obama has signed the health care reform bill into law after more than a year of trying to hammer out a bill extending coverage to millions of Americans without insurance. The battle with Capitol Hill was hard fought, but as Sandra Endo reports, it isn't over yet.
Using 22 pens to be handed out as souvenirs, President Obama signed historic health care reform legislation into law.
I'm signing this reform bill into law on behalf of my mother, who argued with insurance companies even as she battled cancer in her final days.
It was personal for him, but also political. Throughout a heated year-long debate over the issue, sharply divided along party lines, the president didn't back down.
We as a people do not shrink from a challenge, we overcome it.
Starting this year, the bill would allow tens of thousands of Americans who have pre-existing conditions or who were dropped by their insurers after getting sick to purchase coverage. And small businesses would also start getting tax credits to help cover their employees. But a dozen Republican state attorneys general officially filed suit Tuesday, challenging the legality of the bill, which would require most people to buy health insurance.
People oppose this bill not because they don't know what's in it, but because they know exactly what's in it.
The White House is confident any challenge to the bill won't succeed, and the president will once again be hitting the road, this time to talk up the historic legislation to more conservative districts. He'll be going to Iowa City on Thursday. In Washington, I'm Sandra Endo.
And Louisiana and Texas are among the 14 states taking part in a lawsuit challenging the legality of that bill. Today's viewer web poll question is, do you think healthcare reform will be struck down in court? 60% said yes and 40% said no. Thanks for voting. Still ahead in your KTBS 3 9 o'clock news hour, it's a neighborhood watch meeting. Famous neighbors Hillary Clinton and Mexican President Felipe Calderon meet to discuss their common problems. Public workers striking in France snarl traffic and commerce. And the Queen has joined the space race. Stay with us.